You've just entered the True Addict Let's Be Honest podcast, starting in one, two, three.
You know what time it is, your boy Scoupe, True Addict Scoupe. You know what time it is. We're here with True Addict Live, Let's Be Honest podcast.
Yeah,
And today I'm here with my peoples.
that's right.
You already know what time it is. Somebody that's done been through it. You know what I'm saying? He connected to the streets, but he connected to the real world. He put in his time. Now he's back in this real world making things happen. You got my man here today with me, Darrick Eure, and y'all already know. I don't even have to mention what he doing or what he do because y'all know what it's about. What's up, Darrick, man?
What's up, brother? What's going on?
It's good to see you, man.
Peace, King. Peace.
It's good to see you, man.
Yes,
and I've been waiting to get down with you so you to come up on the podcast, man, because a lot of people don't understand, man, there's both sides and both stories. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
There's always two stories to it. There's always two sides. And I'm just glad to be able to sit here and talk to you because you're doing so well in the industry right now and people want to know why.
Absolutely.
You know, we want to
no
know
doubt.
why. So what's been new with you, man, since you've been back in these streets, man?
Well, first of all, let me give props to you as well. Like, I always, we go way back, street, way back. And one of the things I always tilt my hat to, I had a handful of guys that I always felt like when I was in the street, like, man, this guy got it figured out, or this guy got it figured out, and basically it was probably because of the way, you guys navigated. You guys was, a few years in front of me. And so when I got out there, I was a loose cannon as far as just, no sense of direction. So I want to give you your props, man. Like, you actually navigated through
I appreciate it, man. It's
era of the 90s where,
which were the best times.
Which were the best times.
The 90s were the best.
The downside was, to make it out of that era without having to leave your family out here or get hurt. Or, we came up in an era where just dudes riding around, just jacking you, laying you down was a thing. And so to make it through the era, man, and be doing what you're doing now, this is an honor to be, around another king that definitely paid the way.
I appreciate
and for the people who don't know, it's
love.
just not for them. But to get to your question, man, I'm back. I've been out here, and I just really been relishing the moment. Like, I think one of the things for me has been that the feeling I felt when I wasn't here, when I was away, I took that feeling and I captured it and I put it in a capsule. And every so often out here, I always remind myself to never forget that feeling. That's a feeling that I didn't want to feel again. You know what I'm saying? And so that's really been one of my motivations. I understand that you have to constantly reinvent yourself and etc. But one of the main things, I talked to a couple of guys that still in, so I press 5. But I always remind myself of that feeling that I never want to feel again, which was just, it's nothing worse you can do to a hustler than to put them on a shelf and say, don't you do nothing for the
Don't
next
you move.
8 years, 10 years, whatever. All this great talent you have, set it right here on the shelf and let it get dusty. You know what I'm saying? And I would have rather, man, that's a killer for me. You know what I'm saying?
You know what? The thing about it is, though, man, you got to understand, man, the best ideas, man, end up in the graveyard. And people don't understand that. Like, it's people that's in the graveyard, man, that billionaires, quadrillionaires that's in the graveyard because they was in a situation where they couldn't grow.
Absolutely.
And things that don't grow, what happened? They die.
Yeah, they die.
And I get it. And like I said, by us coming from the same area, I'm representing Norfolk Road, you represent Jericho.
That's right.
And people that watch this podcast, they already know what time it is and what we're saying. But at the same time, as I seen you come up, I seen that you elevated above some of the people that were around you, even people that were older than you.
Right.
You elevated past them,
Right.
and you was out there doing your thing. But at the same time, people got to understand this. Like, even when you're in the streets and you're making money, it's still a business.
It's still a business.
So I seen you as a great businessman back then, because once you rise above your peers, you're considered to be doing something better than the way they doing it.
That's right.
And that skill you never lose.
That's right.
And that has done you great through your time, because look at you now.
Absolutely.
Look at you now.
Absolutely. Yeah, that has definitely, you're definitely right there. They say a great hustler in the street could actually go to Wall Street and be a even greater hustler. And so some of the things, that you learn out there from just basically, making sure your customer is happy. When I was in the street as a small guy in the street, customers that came to me were people who were direct users. And regardless of what they went through, I mean, I ain't gonna say never, but I hardly ever just down the person that called them crackhead or anything. But look, that's all they're a customer. You know what I'm saying? And so yeah, those business techniques have helped me out in this world that I'm in now, which is a totally legit world, and just dealing with customer service. Because one thing I always tell people, if you're in business, your first business, whether you're in auto mechanics, whether you're in cleaning, whether you're in car sales, whether you in, you have a boutique, whatever the business is, your first business is customer service, because businesses don't exist without customers.
Main thing.
And so you're a customer service person first. I tell anybody, you want to figure out customer service, go to Walmart or Target. The customer service line is usually one of the longest lines. Just look up front when you walk in Walmart, go to customer service line. You can see a bunch of returns, a bunch of want money back, bunch of receipts, a bunch of wrong sizes, a bunch of all that.
Because nothing happens without customers.
Nothing happens without customers.
And people don't understand that nothing happens without customers.
Right.
And the thing that I have learned from coming from the streets, like I was the same way when I was in the streets. I mean, they're vouch for me.
Absolutely.
Even though I went back to the streets to help get some people clean and stuff.
Right.
That's what the True Addict brand is
That's
about.
Right. That's right.
But at the same time, even when I was deep in the streets, before I knew what it was like to be able to be a great businessman, I never disrespected anybody.
Right.
I always show love, because to me it was just like, look, these the people is the reason why I'm driving around in this $50,000 car.
That's right.
These are the people that's buying me this
right.
gold diamond chain.
These
are the people that's putting these $300 Jordans on my feet.
That's right.
So at the same time, without them, there's no me in that prospect of wearing fly clothes, driving fly cars, or putting their money up. So I understood that early in life, where it takes somebody, a couple of decades to understand that nothing happens without them.
Absolutely.
And like I said, when we came up, I came up a couple of years before you. My thing was that when I was in the street, it was more like, when I was young, it wasn't that I wanted to be a drug dealer.
Right.
It was that I got tired of my cousin brother coming around driving convertible cars and Mercedes Benz. So I seen how people were respecting him and showed love. I just wanted the love.
That's right.
It wasn't about the car or the clothes and stuff. I just wanted the love from the people. So that translate back to customer service.
Right.
Like, even though I might be selling them something, I want the love from them. I want the respect and love from them that I see other people getting. So we came up in a time where basically, like, that was the basis of everything. We weren't out trying to kill nobody, rob nobody, or trying to see somebody down.
Absolutely.
Our thing is that we just wanted the love from the people, and this was the only way we could get it growing up in the community that we grew up in.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I feel you, man. You're right. It was always something else of principle, of substance that that made a person want to get out in the street. You know what I'm saying? With me, one of my things that one of the things that drove me was I wanted to help my family out a little bit. My mom, my mom always worked 2 jobs. My mom worked 2 jobs now. I don't care how much money I give her or what I do, she gonna work 2 jobs. That's just her. But I had a sister born in '92, and when she was born, in my mind, I took it upon myself to feel like, the struggle that my mom had with just me. When my sister came about in '92, I just felt like, all right, my course is up. I got to do something for myself. You know what I'm saying? Not at that time, not old enough to get a job or nothing like that. I was cutting grass and doing stuff, but I took it upon myself, outside of the things that I've saw and the things that I wanted to do to get into this lane and figure it out, with the intent, like you said, of something great, wanting to love, wanting to help. That was the initial intent. And so, I never really looked at myself as a drug dealer, so I always looked at myself as a hustler who was trying to do better, you know what I'm saying? Not necessarily a drug dealer. And, and I always compare a hustler and a drug dealer to an athlete and a point guard, you know what I mean? Like, a basketball player, an athlete is a versatile person, such as a hustler, a hustler, when people heard the word hustler, because we have magnetized it so bad, they think automatically legal.
Yeah.
But hustle is just, a person who really has a versatile way with life, and they can take a situation and make it financially, and sometimes it's not even financial, make a gain out of a situation. That's what hustlers do. You know what I'm saying? And it can be totally legit. Where a drug dealer only sell drugs. And so I ran across guys like that when I was down, who was crying that my mama, aunt, and brother and sister, ain't nobody sending them money because they only was as good as that product they had in the street. We took that away from them, put them in a different environment, and they couldn't even get a haircut. You know what I'm saying? Just like a shooter, take the gun out of his hand, put him in an environment he can't even protect himself. On the street, he's a gorilla, So I always made those analogies and compared those things. So I definitely agree. I never looked at myself as a drug dealer back then. I just wanted to do better. You know what I'm saying?
So another thing too, like people got to understand that like most of the things that we done, it was brought before us, like it was there. We seen it as young kids,
no
it
doubt.
wasn't nothing, it ain't like today where you research something, you go online and you're trying to, I'm gonna be a nurse, so let me see what being a nurse is about.
Right.
Basically, the options that we had were limited.
Yeah.
They were limited, and like I said, if you was the type of person like I was, I was more into like, what can I do to get the love from the people? You get what I'm saying? Because I'm deep down, because I'm a good guy.
Right.
They label me being a bad guy because I'm hustling, I'm making money.
Right.
But really, I'm a good guy, and I just want the love from the people.
That's
so what are some of the things that you seen when you was coming up that made you say, you know what, I'm gonna do that? What was the one thing that took you from inside of the house, outside of the house, to be able to start to get into that the streets?
One of the things I'm gonna tell you, man. So a lot of people don't know this. So when I was like 13 years old, my sister was like a year. I still was, right on the fence of figuring out now. Shout out to Ernie D or Diesel, that's my cousin. He was, schooling around a little bit, making a few moves, but I seen some of that stuff. But this was a real pivotal thing right here. I went to Hampton Roads Box Company. For people who don't know that, even if you're from Suffolk, it's a little wood factory behind where Mr. Leota's landscaping company is. You go across those tracks, there's be a place called the Box Company. Between Jericho and Hollywood, we had a shortcut to cut through there. I stopped one day, asked the man for a job. He said, "Are you at least 16?" I said, "Yes." Lied. He said, "All right, come to work tomorrow. I'm gonna see what you do." I got in there and worked my butt off. He kept asking me for my birth certificate and social security card so they can get me on their payroll. They was paying me, but they didn't have proof of how old I was. And this was before all this computer era and all this. We talking about 93. And so I'm in there working, and the man found out how old I was, and he fired me. And I worked my butt off, blisters and I've seen, guys with, nice cars and go, like I said, my cousin go around the house for 3 minutes, come back around the other side of the house and he got a couple of $100. Things like that made me do something that people do today, which is a huge mistake, is I pulled out a measuring stick and started measuring what other people were doing and how long it took them. And that right there is what initially caught my attention. Because, I always heard your parents talk about working hard, how hard they work and all that. And this looked very easy. Went on this side of the house in Jericho, came around, walked the guy back there, came around the other side, and he came back like this, counting, got a nice stack of money. And that right there, I think, injected something in my system to say, yo, what's stopping you from doing that? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And that's how it starts.
Yeah, and so that was some of the things that I seen. It was clothes and stuff like that, but I've really never been very, materialistic. But it was things like that, and being able to make money that fast and that simple. Here I am, a kid that want money. I'm lying to get a job, and I work, 2 weeks. And I think back then minimum wage was like $4.25. I bring home, $144 or something, and this guy wouldn't have made that in 5 minutes, and he got a dope outfit on. He ain't even dirty, and so the world that I grew up in, and that just it seemed like bad math. I'm working this much, and he working this much, and that didn't make sense to me then. So
and I get it too, because one thing about me, like when I was coming up and I was young, I can remember just being like maybe 10 and stuff like that. And just being, going to school And then, cause where I grew up at, we had an outside toilet. Like we didn't even have,
we did too.
we didn't even have a bathroom in the house.
We did too.
So just going to school and trying to realize, like, why I'm wearing the same shoes I had on last year, or why I got on my brother's shoes and they too big for me, or you get what I'm saying, and things like that. Those are things that basically drove you to understand that you were different than the other kids there. Right. The other kids there first day of school, they got new stuff. I can remember one time, man, I'm gonna be honest with you. I remember one time, my mom went shopping for the first day of school, and I was young. I think we was living on, I forgot what street we was living on, but it was still in the same neighborhood. And she went shopping for us, and she came back with Cougar Royal. You remember that? Okay. Yeah, I remember. It's funny now. Yeah. But I can remember clearly new shoes. I mean, everything is new. Yeah. And for some reason, at that young age, I knew that I was poor. You get what I'm saying? Because I didn't want to wear that. Yeah. I was already aware that this is poor. Right. You get what I'm saying? Right. And this is going to get me laughed at. Right. This is going to get me talked about. Right. And ain't nothing worse than going to school and being laughed at and talked about. Yeah, no doubt. So I had to wear the shoes I had from last year. Yeah. Which was probably a pair of Nikes that was passed down from my brother. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. So after going through that experience, and then you see somebody, and I could just remember, my cousin, brother coming over and had brand new Nike Air Force Ones and gold chain and stuff. I'm like, it doesn't make sense. Yeah, and I'm like, what is he doing to get these clothes? Because we're exposed to this through school. Yeah. I know these shoes on his feet cost $100. Yeah. I know this chain around his neck costs a lot of money. I don't know how much. I know this 8-ball jacket or whatever he got on costs $300 or $400 because this is what's fed us. We go to school. Like, you don't know this until you go to school. That's right. When you right there in your community, you kind of cool. You like everybody got, boom, boom, boom. Level, But when you go to school, it's evident that you're poor. And that's when you really find out you're poor. And it drove me in that direction. So by the time I got to a certain age, 13 is the first time that I got on the streets, Man, me too. You know what I mean? And once you get to a certain age and then you realize, like you say, the first thing, when somebody hand you some money for something that you don't even think, like, what is this? What am I selling? Right. You're gone from there. Because now you're able to do the things that you and I try my best, man. Like when I talk to the youth and I talk to young kids, and I try to steer them in a direction that steers them away from the stuff that I've been through. Absolutely. But it's still hard because unless you're putting something in their hands, basically what you're telling them, it goes in one ear and right out the other. Right. Because you're taking something from them, but you're not handling. I went through that. You get what I'm saying? Like even with my nephew and kids that came up under me, you taking some away from them. That's right. That's popularized in the main media. That's right. And you're not handling them anything. That's right. You get what I'm saying? We kind of went through that when we was young too. Mm-hmm. Your mom would tell you like, don't do X, Y, and Z, but at the same time, she not handing you anything to say, okay, but do this, right, or take this, or take that. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. And then you end up in that position where once you get used to having nice things and making money and stuff, that's basically what direction you're heading to. You headed to the penitentiary, but you don't know it. Yeah. You don't know it. That's true. So we all went through it. My main thing is, man, like ever since you've been home, I've been around and seen how you went to working, to owning your business and then owning two businesses. Right. What steered you in that direction? Far as like, I want to be a business owner regardless of what I do. What took you there to be able to start that? It's funny you asked that. I had this conversation with a friend of mine today. He actually quit planners today. Okay. But here's what it boiled down to. You and I have been exposed to a life and a level of success in business that, when you get into that limelight that we did early on as a teenager, we stripped ourselves away from our normal job. We don't know that, but we stripped ourselves away from that because what happened is our creative energies,
our mind, the ability of freedom and money and all these things have been soared into us. The only thing we did wrong was we chose the wrong product. But other than that, for the most part, we was conducting business. And so once we went that way, I think the motive after that, a job would never fulfill you or I again, because it's just not in our strip. We've seen our parents do that forever, and we still grew up poor. You know what I'm saying? And so for me, when I was inside, like I said, I had a lot of business plans. I had 25 business plans when I came home. I knew that I needed to be a business owner. But although I was exposed to business early and I had the bar set up here for myself, part of the mistake that I made of actually going to prison and having to do, over a decade and come back was that I got to start from the bottom all over again. And means working is one of the steps, and it's one of the steps, because before that, other than that little box company stuff, and I made a bet that I couldn't get a job. I got a job for that, but I never worked for anybody before. So the first thing I want to do to be a great businessman is get a job and see what, how it is to work for somebody. Not only is that going to show me how to be a great boss, but it's also going to show me some things that I haven't seen, and it's going to be a stepping stone. I made a couple of coins and got good at a trade. So I came home and my dad, thankful for him, he was a crew leader at the shipyard. He got me into the shipyard in Norfolk. Never picked up a tool. I've learned a lot of stuff inside, but it was business stuff. But never picked up a tool a day in my life other than put some reflectors on a bike when we were kids. You know what I'm saying? And he trained me to be a pipe fitter. And and over the course of about 2.5 years, I was one of the best pipe fitters at NASCO and BAE that you wanted to see. I became the crew leader. I had 2 guys working in my crew.
Okay.
And so became a pipe fitter and instrumentation guy, which is like tubing, like brake lines and stuff like that. And I did that on all LSD model Navy vessels. Every LSD that did a midlife overhaul, I did the instrumentation on. I led the pipe
That's
fitting
what's
on
up,
that,
man.
bro.
So you
and
were
so,
doing what you're doing.
And then when I got to that point, I got to the point one day where I started setting up. I said, you know what? I've been out here 2 years. It's time for me to go ahead and transition to that next phase, because I worked for a company that was very they was good old boys. It was a subcontractor, and they was good old boys, and they let you know they good old boys. And so you imagine the guy coming home used to some little street money and little materialistic cars, and had some jewelry and stuff, and come home and then you go work for some good old boys for. I started off making $12 or $13 an hour. When I left, I was making $22, $23 an hour. But none of that money is cool, because every time I get a raise, I said, "Damn, I make $50,000 this year. Why I can't make $350?" The why I can't make $350 is because I'm working for a company. There's a cap there. The only way I'm ready to drop the top in this convertible is I got to get out there on my own. And so I started building my cleaning business slowly, just buying commercial stuff, figuring out which way I want to go with, and buying the equipment, vacuums, floor machines, buckets, and all this stuff. Sat down with people, learn how to put together proposals, pull up an app called BidCalc to help me bid on jobs, make sure I'm competitive like everybody else. Dealing with EVA and getting on sites, getting DUNS numbers for minorities, and just trying to get out there and figure it out. And one day I was at work and I got a call from the YMCA, and they was like, "Hey, we got your name on a contract over here, $6,000 a month." And when they told me that, and I signed and verified it, I went back to the shipyard, gave them my 2-week notice, and I've been on my own since.
We went through a lot of things, man, that we could have lost our lives.
Absolutely.
Back when we was in the streets.
Absolutely.
A lot of things went on.
Absolutely.
You didn't know how they was gonna turn out, but
Absolutely.
They turned out.
Absolutely.
And we blessed to be here.
Absolutely.
People don't really know how blessed we are to be here.
Absolutely.
They don't know the feeling. Absolutely. Because we lost a lot of people during that time. Dudes that kidnapped, murdered, like it's so many things. And then, we got friends right now that's still down, locked up.
And some
federal
of them
time.
never coming back.
Never coming back. And they gotta understand that, that gang, it brought a lot of danger towards you, even when you was basically celebrating the victory and making money.
That's right.
And being somebody back then, it was a lot of danger.
Yeah, no doubt.
What are some of the things that you remember back then that put you in a predicament that you're blessed to be out of. But
Right.
but some things that you think about when you're sitting on the couch and
Right.
because you're here now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like you said, the street is a beast. Like a lot of people, especially youngins, they hear about the glory part, they see the cars, just like music. Rappers and dope boys share the same comment. It's not a coincidence that a lot of rappers, talk about it, right? And so we share, everybody, like rappers said, everybody. We don't know everybody, but everybody know us. There's guys that know. I know stories about Scoupe that heard about the guys with the Beamers and if the dopest, one of the dopest Afro legends that ever come and stuff. And they heard all these stories, and I'd have been around guys who be talking like, yeah, man, my man Darrick Eure, this and that, and I don't know the guy. I'm sitting right there. Obviously, he don't know me.
Yeah,
he talking to some guys, and I'm right there. And I'm like, this dude is creating a story. So we have a dangerous job. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And when you was out there, but I think the most dangerous part of a reason, like I've been robbed. I do set me up to get robbed.
Okay.
I've been in a couple of little situations, but this particular situation.
Tell us what happened.
All right, so at this time, this is probably the height of my career out there in the street. Everything's great, and it started with a long chain of things. But it basically, the long story short, I had a guy who was getting stuff from me called me. He said, "Hey man, I need to get at you. I need to get, I knew when a guy called you and you've been dealing with, where he at. You know what I'm saying? He wanted like a 62 or something, right? I'm like, cool.
Break down what a 62 is so they understand.
A 62, when we in the street, when we talk about the label 62, that represents grams. You know what I'm saying? Which is actually 2 ounces and a quarter. An ounce being 28, and then 7. You know what I'm saying? And so that's how you get the number 62. And actually, it's 62 point something because the real measurements of a whole joint back in the day was 1,008. It's 1,000. It somehow reduced to 1,000, but it was actually 62 point something. But we say 62.
And it was basically, it was one of those things where I remember when I was young. And the first time I got a 62, I felt like I was arriving.
That's a 62 is
62,
a milestone.
62, you're arriving.
It's a milestone in the game. 62 is a milestone in the game because you got to understand where you caught the end of it, and I came in, it was gone. But you caught the end of transitioning from when guys was in the street in the hustle world where it was just ounces. Like if you ounce, I wasn't no, and so guys that came out in the 80s and stuff, they measured their success by ounces. And so what we did, we brought mathematics and chemistry to it, where we understand what a quarter and an eighth is, and inside of the big pie of things, a 62 is an eighth of a whole situation. Then inside of every zip, this is mathematics for kids. There's an eighth or a quarter or a half inside of that too. So 62 represents grams. So 2 ounces on the quarter.
And it represented arriving.
Arriving.
At the point that we're talking about with your situation, it was nothing.
It was nothing.
But when you was young, you was arriving.
When I was young, I wanted to get there. But at this time, I'm about to get this to this guy. But I know this is where he at. So this is how the game. So he said, yo, listen, I got what I owe you, and I need a 62. So I said, you know where I'm at. Come round the way. Right? So now, you and I grew, basically your Norfolk Road is to us in Jericho is like uptown. It's across the tracks, uptown on the strip.
Main strip through Suffolk.
Main strip through Suffolk. Norfolk Road. I'm on the across the tracks on the backside of Jericho, and so we share some of the same things. One of the main things that we shared was when you got the power, you stay in your circle, in your hood, in your comfort zone, and they come to you.
And you're protected.
I broke all those laws. First mistake, I broke those laws. And so, he called about that. Then he put another guy on the phone. He got my money in that. He put another guy on the phone. And the other guy says, and this guy, he just got back out here in the street, and he put him on the phone and he says, yeah, man, because he was doing stuff with me too. He was like, yeah, I need to get like 9.
And you thought these guys were well established,
and they been getting stuff from me though.
Yeah.
But the guy who wanted 9, he get, that's what he get.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, yeah, bring me my, matter of fact, you coming down here, bring me my jump.
Mm-hmm.
So long story short, he getting this 62, he got what he owed me. I'm gonna go ahead and look out for him. I got a half a joint, right? I got a half a joint. So I got a half a joint, And I'm gonna give him his 62, get duty 9, and then the rest of it, I'm gonna give him the whole thing. He got the money he owed me, and then I'm just give him the whole thing. I ain't got a big phone. So I told him, I said, yo, come down the way. He was like, all right. But the people rode through. Gray toys rode through, tinted windows, people riding all around. I said, damn, I called him. I said, yo, nah, the people over here don't come through. He's like, all right. I said, where you at? He said, I'm downtown.
So it was another element that pushed you to think
me
out of your boundaries.
Yeah, think out of my boundaries. But to be honest, I would have went down there anyway, because that's what I did. I went into every hood. You could have told me coming to the back of Saratoga down the dark alley. I just
But you know that was we had certain hoods around there, certain places you didn't go.
My thing was this, us growing up, and you can relate to this, going to Birdsong and the parades back in the day. You almost had to fight. You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
and that's how it was.
But those were the days where we would fight.
Yeah, we would fight. But my thing always been, if I ain't done nothing to nobody, I can go anywhere I want to go. And I ain't no tough guy. Don't get me wrong. I'm one of those guys, and we share this similarity too, is where, I ain't looking for no problems, but I ain't running from none. You ain't, I ain't gonna do nothing to you, but you definitely ain't gonna do nothing to me. That's just how it is. I ain't no tough guy. I'd rather have the money and my woman, And at that time it was there, and I'm good. If you want to bring it, then, we can do it. You know what I'm saying? Because, and that's always been my mentality. And so, long story short, so it's like, boom. So I get my guy. So, yo, come through. We got to make a run. He come through. And so while I'm driving down there, I'm on the passenger side. I feel, one thing about when I look back at it, your inside always tell you the truth. You know what I'm saying? So I felt, kind of funny or whatever, but I ain't really, nothing really jumped out. And so we driving. And so while we on our way there, somebody called me that's not far from there. They like Williamstown. They's like, yo, 4.5 joints. So I'm like, dang. So dude, I never told dude I was going to bless him with the other stuff. So I took 4.5 of that out. And then we're down to three bigs. You know what I'm saying? I took the 4 house. I'm going to go and sell that out and just get him some of the next joint. So went down there, got the big money, put it in the glove compartment of the car, went downtown for 3 4.5s. I get out the car. I got everything freezer bagged up and taped and got it, around my waist. So I walk in, and we walk in the house. It was a place where as soon as you walk in, you're in the living room, and he's sitting in a chair, like over here. So he got him and a little young cat, like a kid, look like he could be like 12 or 13. So he's sitting in the chair. He got a stack of money about this tall on the table, right? And so I look at the money, I look at him, I look at the kid, and instantly I felt like something wasn't right. So behind me is a bedroom door closed. Because when you open the front door, you automatically close the bedroom door. The bedroom door and the front door, like, back to back. So I'm talking to him. So I ain't move. I ain't pulling nothing out. I'm like, yo, what's going on, man? He like, yo, what's up, D? What's up, man? What's good? I was like, ain't much. What's going on? He like, yeah, because your change right there. So what's this, everything? He like, yeah, I got old boy money. I got everybody money. So I said, I picked the money up and fanned it. I said, nah, that money ain't right. I said, man, call me when you get that money right. That money ain't right. You know what I'm saying?
So did you feel anything right
there? I felt it in me that something wasn't right. And I'm going to tell you, and this is one of my theories, and I'm going to tell you what I thought. The same allurement it takes to set a person up to get robbed is the same allurement it takes to set a person up with the police. I actually thought it was some police stuff, because the reason I started helping him was because his guy got locked up.
Okay.
So his guy got locked up and got caught with a lot of his money.
Okay.
So then he kind of be like, D, man, I've been getting a little shit from him. My guy got hit, my money from it. So I'm like, yeah, I'll help you bounce back. And I started hitting them off a little bit, helping them bounce back. And that's how we got our relationship. Connection. Other than that, we had no connection. You know what I mean? That's how. But he had supported the hustle a few times. Okay. And I know. So when I went in there and I felt funny, I'm thinking police. Okay. Because it's the same allurement. If you can set a dude up to get robbed, you can set him up with the police. It's a trick back. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So I looked at the money. And then I looked at him, I grabbed the money, went through it, fan or whatever. I said, nah. I said, yo, get that money right, give me a call. So as I go to, I ain't even turned around yet. When I set the money back down and I go to stand back up, I heard the door go, bedroom door open. I turn around, a dude got on like a shirt around his face. Got a 357 long. When I say long, he got a 357 long. He got pointing that joint like, man, you already know what it is. So, being from Jericho, being around, and being in a couple of incidents before, I ain't even panicked. He put that joint in my face. I turned away from it, looked at him. I said, yo, you set me up, man. That's some pussy shit, dog. Like, for real, that's fucked up. You set me up to get robbed, dog. Like, I'm helping you. I said, that's fucked up. I said, you got it. As I picked my arms up like this, I grabbed quickly the barrel of the gun, got both hands around it. Take the dude, because, physically, he ain't going, I don't care who, we're going to run.
Adrenaline is rushing too, yeah.
I got it. We tugging back and forth. I, boom, run him to the door. Boom, I'm near him. He getting weak. I go there, pull the trigger of the gun. He hollers, yo, 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 oh shit. Little unbeknownst to me, there's 2-3 more dudes in the kitchen. They runs out. So they all jump on. I'm in there scrapping, right? Finally, while I'm scrapping, my shirt come off and all that, they heard the plastic. One of the dudes, obviously, while I'm grabbing the dude on my leg and all that, they snatch the work out. They get the work. The money that I had for the other 4.5 was in the glove box of the car. And so they got the work. Boom. So they get the work. They just shot out of there. You know what I'm saying? And hit the back door. And the back door of that house, you got to cut across the dude backyard who asked me for the 9.
Okay.
Big dude just came home.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So, boom. So automatically, me looking at the money, knowing that his money wasn't in there. When I fanned through the money and realized it was no way, I don't know what I was doing, 9 for them, but it wasn't nowhere close to, and it was soft, it wasn't no way it was close to 5,900. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
It won't no way. You know what I mean? So that makes me feel like big dude never put his money in there. So he amped it up to tell me to bring it so I can boost the weight because he knew dude was going to do that. So I put everybody in the circle together. So now, when I ran out the crib and got my, now imagine my man in the car. We got the Joan in the car and everything, but he in there, the music going, he can't hurt that. I'm in this jump fight for my life. Remind me of the movie Friday when Craig was in the record shop and Pinky came in thinking he was robbing the joint and they didn't know back there getting high. Mm-hmm. It reminded me of that.
It wasn't the Scarface situation where they did. He was talking to the girl, but it was taking too long.
Exactly, yeah.
That was a different situation.
Yeah. And so I get back in the car, I'm pumped up. Yo, what? I grab the joint and I'm out there. I just wanted to shoot something. I just wanted to fight. You know what I'm saying? But realistically, I've always been a reasoned person where, just doing it in the air or whoever, it ain't done nothing to me. I need to see this dude. So we riding, looking all through, go around Church Street, come back around looking, and they gone, whatever. They had it all figured out. They hit the cut, went whatever, and so I'm man, when I say fight, I'm pissed. So go back around the way, get my mind right. Automatically, I call some of my folks like, yo, boom, 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 boom. I hit my dude, and he like, yo, all right, let's, So the dude who called me, he automatically trying to put a scenario out there like he didn't know and he won't hit whatever, this, that, and the third or whatever. And from that point, that created a monster in me that I didn't like. It created me, it made me, I guess I felt like, I probably felt like Tupac did when he got robbed in the elevator. He felt like Biggie knew about it. I mean, this created, I went out of my element, you know what I'm saying? Because now, real money, real work, like that's action.
And then
on
top of that, I feel where you're coming from because you was looking out for somebody.
Yeah, absolutely.
That kind of tears you a little
bit. And so time go on, some crazy stuff exchange, back and forth. Some stuff happened here, some stuff happened there. It was.
So how many times did this happen to you during your career?
My career. Yeah. I only had that, and then when I was really young, I had a hiccup happen where, back when Portsmouth, quote unquote, Portsmouth guys used to come around, and you out there hugging the block as a kid or something, you got on a fresh pair of sneakers and a jacket, like a triple fat goose or something on, and it was like, yeah, let me get that. I had a situation like that happen where, that happened. I actually had one of our homeboys one time. This is when I just come off the porch. I was about 13. I bought some fake shit from one of our homeboys, like a half ounce of some fake shit. Late night, just being greedy and young. Won't wait till the morning till my people get up. Okay. I'm out there at 3 a.m. or something, and dude like, yo, hon, let's give me a hell of a deal on this joint. That jump won't right. And I caught him in my cousin's car across from June Willie back, when they stayed over there. And man, we got it in, you know what I'm saying? Little stuff like that. But as far as gunplay, like as far as something actually like a rob, twice. Yeah, like for real. But just being around it a lot, seeing it a lot, that time right there, I felt the most vulnerable and exposed. You know what I'm saying? And that was because I would rather get robbed by the person who set it up. than to get robbed by the person, somebody else. Because the person set it up, no, I just want to take this shit, but I ain't gonna kill the guy.
Mm-hmm.
You got my life in a random dude hand. And then you know your plan might be just to get it and
the
go.
money, but this other guy
when I started rip, yeah, he could have, yeah, you know what I'm saying. And so you just never know. And so I felt the most vulnerable at that time. All of those guys that was associated with that, you know, the guy who actually had the pistol. Then I tell you, I seen this guy one time in 20 years, but that was roughly 20 years ago. I seen this guy one time in 20 years, and this was about 6 months ago. I'm riding, went through stuff, and look, it's like, man, this. I mean, I almost didn't know who he was, and to this day, when he see me, he go a different way. You know what I'm saying? And just because those dudes respect the fact that this dude was in here by himself, and you know, we got to work, but it won't easy. And had them dudes not been in the kitchen, I probably would have been in prison for the rest of my life because I was going to get that gun, and I was going to shoot everything in there.
And the guy that done it, like you say, you see him, but he probably still mentally trapped.
Yeah, the guy who had the gun,
mentally trapped.
He's when he see me, definitely he go another way. Like I don't care. One day I was on Wilson Street. One day I was on Wilson Street talking to somebody, and he came up on a bike. And Wes, when he realized it was me, because somebody called my name, he didn't know it was me. I ain't seen him in 20 years. He busted you. Now the dude who made the phone call, I see him. You know, we actually. And when I fell, he fell, and we ran across each other in there, and it was some smoke or whatever. But, you know, at the end of the day, whatever that happened back then, I don't translate that into this new legal world. Everybody got a clean slate. Everything that didn't get solved before the feds came and got me. That's where I left it at. I left it in the street. You know what I'm saying? A new man, a new person, look at life different. Only way I'll harm somebody if they, you know, try to harm me or mine or come in my home or something like that. But other than that, all that stuff is dead. And in my mind, you know, these people, you know, their credit score is still terrible with me. You know what I'm saying? I'm just telling you as a human being. You know what I'm saying? I don't care if they come in to buy a car. Your credit score is still shot with me. You know what I'm saying? But I don't do anything. I'm not into anything that put me in that situation.
Yeah,
you want to rob me now? Go to Navy Federal and Langley and tell them give you Darrick Eure money. And they'll handle it from there. As the successful hustlers in the community, that was the look up to guys. They were the superstars in your hood. They did things, and so these guys, and you know, they come from these places that really didn't have to do that. You know, they never gonna probably tell you, but they admired you in so many ways. You know what I mean? And that's what allured them and brought them into the circle. Then you educate them and all that. But at the end of the day, man, you know, we got to take this competitive heart that we got. Guys want to compete against each other. And for no reason, and you know, listen, you know, like you said, a lot of these guys, you know, they had to build it from the ground up, you know, independently, you know, without a spouse or without the route that we had to do it initially. A lot of them, you know, I'm sure wouldn't be able to even stand the fire. Like, yo, give honor to these beautiful women. We got some beautiful sisters out here, man. They really are, you know, the guys are wearing the title, but a lot of these women are really the backbone to the program. And that's legit. You know what I mean? Like, you know, Obama was only as great as Michelle was online. You read his new book, you hear about that. But, you know, men are like presidents of the United States. You know, we are the face, but women really run the house. You know what I'm saying? A woman runs the house. The support, yeah, she actually delegates throughout the household and runs things.
She holds things together.
She holds it together. She's right. A man, you know, he's the face, he's the structure, he's the, you know, but
he's the protection.
And when, you know, a lot of these, you know, guys and people, men, all of us, you know, we got to start acknowledging that part as well. Because, you know, I know my route, and I'm sure your route has been, you know, the success that you've been able to attain. Every time, you know, something happens, you have to dig into what you can do and produce from that. And so, you know, I would tell people in the world, like, don't get caught up on who has the most mashed potatoes. I'm using mashed potatoes as an analogy for material things. You know what I'm saying? Because Miss Martha only has a small bowl of mashed potatoes, but she peeled hers by hand and then diced them all up, boiled them the correct way, and then mashed them by hand. So there's real potatoes. And, you know, and Jeanette, she just added water to hers. So she has a whole lot of mashed potatoes. Whole lot of material things, right?
But the taste is different.
But the taste is different. The quality is different. And the ones in the small gun, you're gonna love it because she put that work in for real.
And I think a lot too. I mean, let's think about when we was young. You know, let's be real. You know, when you know when we was young, I could understand why guys were attracted to
Right.
how we live, because
Right.
some of the same things that we seen when we was young.
Right.
You know, somebody pull up in and
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
drive,
yeah,
or they pull
yeah,
up in
yeah,
the Benz or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
Like, you
yeah,
know, we wanted that. We
you
felt
wanted,
good about that. You know, we was like,
that was
man,
a definition.
I want that love.
Yeah,
You know, like
yeah.
these dudes get love.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
I
yeah.
can remember back in the days, you know, like I remember you came through with the bike. That bike you
Yeah.
had was bad.
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah,
like
yeah,
I was
no
like,
doubt.
damn, you know, I wasn't a bike rider,
Right.
but
No.
I still seen you come
Right.
through with that bike.
Right.
It was like the baddest bike
Right.
around at that time.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Right.
And the way you was towing it and
Yeah,
throwing
yeah.
it up in the air, and
Yeah,
you know, like
yeah.
that attracted the youth.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Right.
It was some attraction, but it was something that you love to do.
Right.
You get what
Absolutely.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the same thing, like when I was young, like when I decided, you know, I was going, you know, like I went to school just to show off. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I ain't even going to school, but
Yeah.
I'm going to school just to
Sure,
wear
yeah.
the gold link and the new Jordans. You know what I mean? When I was young, you know, this is what I done.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So I was attracted to that because it was because of the love.
Yeah.
Because of the love. So we got at the end of the day, we gotta respect those feelings. So those guys seen these things.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They was attracted to that feeling, even though they wasn't a part of our community.
Right.
They wasn't part of our struggle. They had bathrooms.
Right.
They had stuff.
Absolutely.
They was attracted to
that.
what we had, and
That's
we
right.
was attracted a little differently
That's
because
right.
we didn't have.
That's right.
You get what I'm saying? Because you got to think about it. Our mentality. You can imagine if we was young and we had an opportunity, like if we had like uncles that had really nice jobs and family, you know, we probably would have went there because we was hustlers.
Absolutely.
So we're gonna try to hustle with uncle.
That's
we
right.
ain't going to the street.
That's right.
We ain't going to nobody's hood.
Imagine if you had a pop that had his own business.
Oh my God. Can you imagine that?
Imagine that. Like, that's real. I'm going to tell you about these guys that we're talking about in this circle. This is something, see, it's the bully syndrome. See, the guys that was picked on in school, you know, and whatever, when they grow up and they become these cops and stuff like that, it's like, yeah, now, you know, remember y'all used to pick on me in the first grade?
You didn't fit in.
Yeah, they didn't fit in there as cops. So now take that scenario and put it to the guys who didn't really have to hustle, who came from these worlds. Now that, you know, everybody's legit and they're doing stuff, they still remember, and you was doing it because you loved Acura and BMW at the time, right?
I'm a car guy.
But these guys at the time didn't even have a car, or they was driving their daddy car in their daddy name, or however they did it, or their mama name, or their uncle name, or however they did it, and they looked at that and felt some kind of way because they couldn't understand how you had, you know, come from your environment, they come from that environment, but you got all this nice stuff. So now you ain't even thinking about none of that stuff. They still flexing. They still flexing for something from 15 years ago.
It's almost like it's
ain't it like the bully? Ain't it like the bully who got it?
But you said something real, and I'll be honest with you, I didn't think of it in that way.
Yeah.
They still got something to prove.
They still flexing.
Even though those times have passed by, and everything that I do is to show love.
Right.
But they still haven't got past it. They're still trying to show that I'm doing better than you, or I can have what you have, or I can have what you have. But you see, they're in search of a feeling they can't get.
Right, you can't get.
They're in search of a feeling you can't get because they got to understand this. The feeling that we had when we was young, when we was doing that thing, was a feeling of newness.
And it was organic.
You get what I'm saying? It was organic, but it was newness.
Right.
It was like, I have something that I've never had before.
Right.
So no matter how many times you repeat that now at this age and living in this life, whatever, you can never get that feeling.
Right.
You have to go further than that.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So it don't have anything to do with me.
That's right.
You have to go further than that to get that feeling. It doesn't have anything to do with me. So no matter what you do, or how much money you make, or how big your house is, or whatever, it doesn't affect me in any way. You have to go further than that. So I can't help you get that feeling.
That's true.
Because it was a natural feeling.
That's very true.
That I had when I was young.
And there's another sidebar is this. Not only can they not get that feeling, if you ain't do it in that time capsule when it was difficult to do, when nobody wouldn't put a car in your name and you needed 5 digits to put down on the car to even move it and all that. See, right now you can get a car. I mean, I can go find a dude from the Exxon and join him to Navy Federal on my account real quick and clean him up and get a car. He'll have a car before tax time. You know what I'm saying? So cars ain't nothing to get there. And that time, it was hard to get if you didn't have a lot of money, dog, and know somebody know how to do and maneuver stuff, it was hard to even get it. Better yet, they put a kit on it or stagger it or all that. They won't finance some rims then.
And the thing about it is they don't understand this too. In the 90s, you got to understand, in the 90s, they didn't want to put a reference on it.
Yeah.
we was out there getting money doing the same people they look up to, the Jay-Z's
Right,
and all
right,
that.
right,
We
right.
was getting money at the
Right.
same time. And might even been getting more money because a bunch of these stories that these rappers tell, you know, these flamboyant stories are make-believe. You get what I'm saying?
No doubt.
But the reason why I don't know a lot of information about what was going on with Jay or Biggie and stuff like that, because I was in the midst of that.
That's right.
I was in Fort Rockaway, Queens with a connect.
That's right.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I'm in New York.
Yeah.
So I'm doing what they putting in their songs.
Right.
I'm not a rapper.
Right.
So I can't make a song.
Right.
But they talk about what I'm doing. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So in the 90s, like I tell people, I tell them it all the time. I say, well, back when we was getting money out there in the streets, it was hard to get those materials. Things. You really put your life on the line to get those things.
Thinking about
now, today, they don't cost nothing.
And listen, think if R&R Rims was around in 97, 95. Like, you actually can rent, like, go and make payments on rims. Like, I never, like, that was crazy.
It was crazy. And then the thing about it is they got to understand, we come from a breed where you had to really make money.
You had to make money.
And you had to put it towards something.
Absolutely.
That basically, like you said, if it wasn't for you putting it in your girlfriend name or your uncle name and this and that, you had to have real money to do that.
Real money.
Because uncles and girlfriends,
they
didn't have no real credit. They didn't have all those things. You had to have a lot of money to put down towards it just to even get it. And the only reason why you ain't have any name because you're too young to have
That's right. And you're too young to have it in there. And you got to pay your whoever name is going in. They want something now.
They want something, or you taking the risk that whatever you paying for belongs to them.
It belongs to them. Yeah.
See, they don't understand that. So today, with the youth or whatever, they still try to use that as a crutch of having a nice car and stuff like that. But nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
I was like, nobody cares.
Yeah.
Like they might see me like, cause I don't drive nice cars. Let me tell you why I don't drive nice cars. Because these cars are not nice to me.
Right.
I might drive something that you consider nice, but I've been driving these since the 90s.
Right.
So it's a regular car.
Yeah.
It might be nice to you, but it's normal to me.
That's right.
You get what I'm saying?
That's right.
So when they might see me driving a BMW, something like that, I'm a car guy. So I'm a hobby.
Absolutely.
So you might see me with something that might be old because I'm a hobby. I don't care about 2020, this and that, because that car means nothing. It just means debt.
That car gonna lose money for the next 20 years.
It just means debt.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? I'm an investor.
That's right.
So if you see me out playing with some cars, it's one or two things. I bought the car for half of what the value is, or I've been wanting this car, and by the time I sell it, I'm still not going to lose a dime.
That's right.
That's a hobby.
That's right.
That's a hobby. We do things like that, so they don't understand that.
Yeah.
But like I said, I think people are not educated. I try to educate them, but the people around them not educating them. About investments and buying property and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And we're here, but I just think that it need to be more people in our community to be able to teach these kids that, and we'll get along a lot.
Yeah. Well, the key is like you said, happiness. People have to become one with themselves. Like, regardless of what, like, you whatever you buy new, I don't care if it's maybe not a home. A home is a different investment, but car, clothes, whatever you buy new, that feeling is temporary. That feeling is going to expire. And the reason I put home a little bit outside of that is because it is the one thing that you can buy and you can constantly add value and change the actual scope of the feeling. You can do that with a car too, but a home is the biggest one. And you can ultimately add a pool in your back of your home and a deck and all that, and change the whole outdoor living and get a different feeling. And that's temporary, and that's investment, and that's going to expire. You know what I'm saying?
And you're going to do more.
And you're going to do more. So I always tell people.
But hold on, let's get to the key point of that. The key point of that is that you're not going to lose as if it was a car.
Absolutely.
You might lose the feeling.
Absolutely.
But your investment is going to be stable. Not unless we have like a 2008 where the market goes down.
That's right.
But that's rare. It doesn't happen all the time.
That's right.
But with a car, if you're buying it new for that feeling, every year, you got to think about it today, man. You could buy a Mercedes for $120,000, and in 3 years, it's worth about $58,000.
Yeah. So ask yourself, in that scenario, right? Does the feeling, can I make the money back as fast as the feeling go away? And if your answer is no, then you probably shouldn't buy it. It's a bad investment. The feeling's going to leave you. You know what I'm saying? And so that's one of my things now. And I'm kind of...
And you're in the car business. You own a car lot.
Yes. Conglomerate Auto Gallery. Yes. And so I'm getting into, the era of, it came to me a little later that we share another thing, which is we both love automobiles. You like, German engineering. I like a lot of American older luxury and some of the muscle cars, but the car is a common denominator. And so I'm in the same loop. Like a 2020 doesn't do nothing to me because it's going to lose money for the next 20 years.
That's the main thing
You know
I'm
what I'm
focused
saying?
on. You're going to lose. It's a bad investment.
Yeah.
Call it for what it is. I
Yeah.
mean, most people, like somebody might go, now, they don't get it twisted, because if I'm in a position where I'm making $300,000 or $400,000 a year,
Right.
and I have an opportunity to lease
Right.
a 2020 because it's my daily
Right.
driving vehicle,
Right.
that make more sense to me than
Right.
me to buy. Because even if I'm a
Right.
multi-millionaire, I
Right.
still, I mean, and even some of the Bill Gates and stuff,
Yeah,
they don't believe. I mean, look at Warren Buffett. He drove the same Cadillac for years because once you got an investment mind, it's hard to get away from knowing that you're making a bad investment.
Yeah.
It's so hard to get away.
It's hard to get away with that. Everything is business, and when you have that state of mind, man, like I have, I have a car that is worth a lot of money, and I almost want to feel like I got it for free, because the way I invested and positioned myself for it, I took a piece that became a free piece, and I kind of like worked that piece up until I was able to get what I wanted. You know what I mean? And that's just the hustle. But I agree, man. Like I'm not with we all like nice things. Everybody got their thing, but I'm not with making bad decisions and trying to use that. And if I did get a 2020 or something, I wouldn't definitely think that means I was better than somebody, or I'm because I'm not.
Because a lot of people, that's their goal. Let me buy this, and I'm going to be better than this person. And it don't make sense. But I think it starts with education, because until we bring education into the Black community, where you basically show them these things, they don't understand. All they know is that this person has this, and I don't have it. You get what I'm saying?
Right. And I blame it on education and happiness, because there's some guys, and ladies that know better. Like they know that, I just lost a huge contract. I need to trim my spending now. But they're addicted in habit to making sure that other people feel like they on this certain level, right? And so they have the education because they know better, but they're not happy with themselves without the materialistic things. So the happiness, I'm gonna add that in there, because you got to be, once you're happy and content with yourself. Like we doing this interview, and I have on Conglomerate. I'm in work gear, Conglomerate, everything. Like I'm in a space where if you don't know me and what I stand for by now, then it really don't concern me. Like
and I understand it, because as you know, even when I'm doing my podcast, I'm always trying to inspire somebody.
Absolutely. Great.
So that's just who I am.
Right.
It ain't nothing that I'm putting on front. It ain't nothing.
Right.
It ain't because if I wanted to just be a flashy guy,
right,
it's easy for me to do that.
Yeah. We could have pulled out some jewelry and did this.
We could have done the whole thing. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm well off.
Yeah.
But that ain't the message that I want to send to the people when I'm doing my shows or my podcast. I want to send to them, like, how did I make you better through this podcast, even this one podcast?
Right.
How did I present? How did the person that I brought as a guest to this podcast?
Absolutely.
Did I do a good job of getting information out of him to make you better?
Absolutely.
You get what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So it ain't all about that.
So
basically, man, like I said, we grew up in a time where where it excited us to be able to be part of that history.
Absolutely.
Now, when we was part of that history, we just wanted somebody to enjoy our life.
That's right.
But at the same time, we was destroying our community because we was uneducated.
That's right.
We was destroying our community.
Pulling it down, man.
And we was destroying it. And then on top of that, the people that we had above us, same people we had older than us, they was helping destroy the community.
Absolutely.
Because there was not one time that I can say that somebody pulled me to the side and said, hey, you know what? That $20,000 you just made last month, you could take that and buy this old broken building, and then it'll be worth $100,000 in maybe 10 years. Wow. And if you ain't really worried about the money, let's do that. We didn't have that.
Yeah.
Before I got enough money to be able to establish myself as being in the streets, people in my family,
that's
right, going to jail. Yeah. But then when I started making money, it's like, hey, I need this.
That's right.
Such and such license off.
That's right.
Such and such needed such and such. So now they're benefiting off of this money they're making when they was telling me I was going to jail a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
But by my family being uneducated, nobody was willing to step in there and say, you know what? since you're going to do this,
Right.
let's take this and do X, Y, Z about it. Because at this point in my life, had I had somebody, I probably would have been in the game a lot shorter, and I'd probably be a lot more successful to help other people at this point.
That's the point.
You get what I'm saying?
That's the goal. That's the goal.
And
right
that's
there.
what, and this is what I'm trying to teach now, so somebody won't miss out on opportunity.
I had a guy. I think he tried to do that with me, and it backfired. So, rest in peace to the guy Nitty. But he was a BMW guy too. He had 7 Series every time he came on.
I remember when the 745 first came out.
Okay, I was gone when the 745s.
Hey, I'm a Beamer guy. I remember.
I was gone when the 745s came out, but when and I left, he had a car for 740. Right. So, rest in peace to him and the Smallwood family. But he pulled me up one day and he said, "Where you at?" I said, "I'm around Jericho." He said, "I'm coming around." And he came around, and he was driving a Lincoln, and he pulled up, waved me to come to the car. I got in the passenger side of the car. He said, "Man, why in the hell you ain't in school?" Right? And I said, "Man, I mean, I've been out of school for about a week or so because, I got kicked out, and they had, during this time in high school, when they known that you hustling and stuff, in Nassau Rivers, they was going to your locker and shit your locker, and I had, a large sum of money in my locker. And they had me on expulsion hearing and all this. So he was like, "Gonna take for you to go to school. Like you still young. You a young man." He like, "How old are you?" And I was like 16. And he like, "What would it take right now for you to leave the streets alone and never get in the streets again?" And I said, "What do you mean what it take?" He said, "How much money would it take?" And I said, "I don't know, man." And at this time, I don't know, by now I probably was worth about 30, 40,000. I don't know. So he said, I said, "Probably, man, $100,000. I'll stop. $100,000, I'm good." And he said, "Okay." He was all right. He got out the car. "Come on, get out the car." Popped the trunk of the car. Had a briefcase in his trunk. And picked the briefcase up, handed me the briefcase, and told me to open the briefcase up. I opened the briefcase up, and it was stacks and stacks and stacks. He closed it back up, took it, put it around, get back in the car. He said, "All right, that's $1 million right there." He said, "You trying to tell me $100,000 and you will leave the streets alone, go to school, you ain't got to worry about you ever hustling again?" And I sat there and I thought, and I said, probably $1 million. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And right then, I think his goal was to change my life as far as telling me that, hey, listen, he almost made it seem like, I'm going to give you the rest of the money and you go to school. But when I seen that briefcase, it changed, it erased 100,000. I instantly added a 0. Instantly. And that really put a different needle in my arm. And I really started chasing that high and never succeeded. I went to feds before I even can, get close to that situation. But I think his goal was constructive. I just think him being that age, in his 60s during that time, and me being 16, he wasn't able to communicate. So I say all that to say that, it's important for us, what we're doing now, to communicate that in a way that the youth definitely can understand what we're trying to say.
Mm-hmm. So now, that we're here during these times, man, with this COVID and everything going on and all these certain things that basically is putting a strain on the Black community, Absolutely. And, but I felt like, you made it through. I see what you're doing, Right. I follow you and I see the outstanding things you're doing for your people and trying to build something. So what are the things you got going on so the people know?
Primarily, it's conglomerate cleaning. Conglomerate cleaning, we do basically commercial cleaning. Okay. I go into a lot of the dealerships, doctor's offices, clinics, etc. After hours, we go in there and make sure we clean. The game has changed a lot now with COVID, so not only are we doing the basic janitorial cleaning, we're actually doing sanitization for. I have electrostatic machines, so we're doing fogging, spraying with a lot of the chemicals that's on the CDC list for COVID. And so that's been a big thing right now. I got some places that just go in and just fog them and go. make sure, electric static is a really cool machine because it travels through energy. So you don't have to wipe anything. One of the biggest things with this COVID is not to wipe it, spray it and have the right chemical and you're good to go. So we have that going. And that's been a blessing. That's been the horse that's been taking me through all of this. It slowed down a little, but never stopped. It's been a recession-proof business. Also have Conglomerate Auto Gallery going on. Used car sales. Most of our cars are under $10,000. The least expensive car we have starts at $29.99. The most expensive car we have is going to be $9,999. So
you got employees. You've actually hired people
in the cleaning business right now. I have a 9-man crew. Okay. I have a 9-man woman crew. I have 9 employees there. 7 people really, hands-on employees, a manager and a crew leader, and of course myself. I still work as an employee.
Okay, you still hands-on.
Still hands-on. Not as hard, but not as many as I used to. On the car side, I have a partner as far as the car dealership goes, and we have 2 employees there. It's just been a beautiful thing. Even with that, and with this year of COVID, basically footing this whole year with COVID, when people did get some type of help or relief, car sales did absolutely well. My thing has been really just to help the people. We in-house finance, so I help a lot of people who just didn't have cash and needed down payments on cars.
Okay. So you're still giving back?
Still giving back with that, and just creating payments on the street and allowing a person to say, "Hey, how much can you pay a month? $180. All right, that's where your payment is."
Okay, that's good, man.
We also
you're a boss. You can make those decisions.
I mean, it's a bank too. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so and actually now raffling cars, giving having it basically so a person can afford a car for $100 for the holiday.
Okay, that's what's up,
that's
man.
coming along. You're giving a couple of bikes out to children, and then more importantly, just constantly educating people that I come in contact with. Giving back is not a season. It's a lifestyle with us.
So I'm glad to have you here, man. I'm glad to be able to sit down and have a man with you, man. And like I said, everything that you've done, everything that you're doing now, man, I'm proud of you. I'm glad that you able to turn your life around, and not only just turn your life around, but actually being able to give back to the community. You have employees. Anytime you got employees, you giving back. I don't care what nobody say. You're providing jobs for people. You're giving back, and you're doing your thing, man. And then by talking to you, times I have talked to you, I had to get you on the show because every time I talk to you, it'd be an intelligent conversation about the future and what can we bring to the future and helping bring society up. And not even a race thing. Absolutely. Just what are we contributing to the earth? That's right. You get what I'm saying? What are we contributing to the earth? That's right. And I got that vibe with you from having them conversations, and I just said, you know what? He got to be on the podcast. You know what I'm saying?
Man. It's an honor. It's definitely.
And I knew you would be honest because the show is Let's Be Honest. I knew you would be honest, and I thought it would be a good fit for the show. And like I said, I'm traveling around and I'm doing this podcast, and I'm still promoting the True Addict brand, which y'all know the True Addict brand is about helping. Here's the story. The story about from 13 years old, the things that took me to where I got to. And the documentaries, we got Blood on Our Hands, we got True Act 1, True Act 2. This is what I do now.
You're in this Street Hustlers Hall of Fame.
Man.
Like you definitely made it and you ducked the bid.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. Like I always get recognized for that. I have people say that to me. They're like, man, you one of the only guys I know that made it out in the streets with no getting tore off, no snitching, no none of that. Like when the guys tried to kidnap me, that was my last day. When I had blood running down my head into my face, I said to myself, I didn't need a talking. I was like, am I making enough money? You get what I'm saying? And when I realized I wasn't making enough money to die behind these streets, that's when I changed my life. You get what I'm saying? That's when I became a film producer. That's why I decided not only was I become a film producer and director, I felt like I was going to use it to give back, and that's what started the Blood on Our Hands and the True Addict brand. So I'm glad to hear you here, man. And I just want to, congratulate you, on where you at, and I just want you to keep going forward and keep doing your thing, man.
No doubt, bro.
And we're gonna connect again.